Somebody was asking about Vibecoin yesterday. I know a bunch of people in the chat were kind of shilling it to me, wanting me to take a look at it. It has a total supply of 267 million. Current market cap of 166 million and sitting at 92 cents. This is coming down pretty far off the highs. It's been as high as 261 roughly. Now we're sitting at 91 in the big bear market that was a couple days ago. We were down to 59 cents. It's kind of an interesting coin. I think their main competitor is probably Mana, which I know a lot of you guys want me to look at as well. Mana, to me, is essentially trying to sell like digital real estate, which is an interesting idea. But I think Vibe might have more real world use cases. The one thing after looking at Vibe, it's hard for me to really see what the value proposition of the token is. I know you spend the Vibe token in order to purchase concerts or to purchase anything you're trying to interact with over here, but there's no burn, there's no nothing like that. There's no holdback. I guess it can continue to go up if you get bigger name artists on here. One example that somebody kept presenting to me is, say, I don't know who you guys like, whatever artist it is, Eminem, say Eminem wants to do a concert. He can do a concert from his studio. You can then pay to be launched into the Vibe concert and see like a hologram of him and then be part of that concert. And or they can set up these sensors at a live concert, say it's across the country in California and you can't make it out there. You can pay to have access to that live concert, so then you get the perspective as if you're there. So that's pretty interesting. It's a global cryptocurrency based on Ethereum, so it is ERC-20 compliant, used for microtransactions on the Vibe Hub platform. Currently, they're using only VR, virtual reality. They have integrated with Oculus Rift, which is pretty big. That's owned by Facebook. And they have plans to get on the other VR as well. Later in the roadmap, they're looking to switch to AR, which I think would be more successful. Augmented reality is something like Pokemon Go, if you've played that, to where it's just using your camera and then implementing that concert goer or that artist or whatever you want just in your camera, so you don't have to wear like a VR headset or anything like that. Use Vibe to purchase concerts, education lessons, virtual assets. You can use their smart contracts for crowdfunding, escrow, and voting. They're really pushing that like people take online classes, but some people are still visual learners. So maybe teachers can have this set up to where you pay extra for lessons and where you can interact with their hologram or interact visually with them. Here's kind of like how the setup would be. They have a stage and have the cameras around them. The thing that I do like about this coin is it has some big name partnerships. You got Monster Technology Group over here, PlayStation 4, HTV Vive, Oculus Rift we already talked about, Samsung Gear VR. So these are big name people. The downside to it is that, I mean, they don't have any huge name developers. I'm not saying that they're not up for the task or anything. I've looked at some of their LinkedIns, but they just don't have any of those big name advisors that are really going to draw some big investors in here. But if they can do some of the things that they're doing, they have a very active roadmap this coming year, and I think it's going to be very interesting. It's definitely on my radar because it has come down so far. It is available on Binance, I believe, as well. I think it's an interesting space. I don't know how necessary it is for them to build it on a blockchain and have a token, why they couldn't just do this as a normal business and partner up with Oculus Rift and do it that way. But it seems that they're going this approach. In Q1 and Q2 of 2018, first of many VR performances will be live on the beta platform using the Vibe currency. And then by the end of Q4 2018, they're going to release to all VR and AR hardware platforms, which would be huge. So I think this is another one of those tokens where it's really going to rely on the adoption of the technology and getting more entertainers and teachers to get on the platform. I think it's super speculative at this point. It's not one that I'm really going to be throwing money at. But it is a very interesting concept. They're over here on their Twitter. They're very active over here. Apparently, they're going to have a Super Bowl ad with Monster. A lot of people are saying Monster Energy Drink, but by looking at their partnerships, I think it's going to be the Monster Technology Group that makes a lot of accessories for like HDMI cables and TVs and all that stuff. I don't think it's Monster Energy. Personally, here it is. Can't show much, but placement in Monster Super Bowl commercial. I mean, maybe you know something I don't, but Monster Energy is not on their partnership list. I know a lot of people are trying to push it that way.
Right.
It's interesting. I think it's one to keep an eye on, but I don't know how much it needs to be built on the blockchain at this point.